Yo, what's good everyone? It's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another GeoGuessr video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys 10 maps that you need to know if you want to be an accomplished GeoGuessr player. I'll have the link to this presentation down in the description so you can save these maps for yourself. And let's get straight into number one. So, this first map shows which countries drive on the left-hand side of the road versus the right side. And let me quickly run you through the best ways to remember everything. So of course, up in Europe, you have the UK, Ireland, Malta, and Cyprus that all drive left-hand side of the road. Cyprus should receive Google Street View soon, but it doesn't have any yet, so you only have to remember the other three. In Americas, it's super easy. Only US Virgin Islands and Bermuda drive left, USVI being the only American territory that drives on the left-hand side of the road. In Africa, draw a straight line from Kenya down to South Africa, and that's all the countries that drive left. So make sure when you're driving left never to click Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana, because they all drive on the right. All the countries of the Indian subcontinent, of course, drive on the left-hand side of the road due to the British influence. Same goes for Hong Kong and Macau. And the rest of Southeast Asia is the most important part. So everything that surrounds Thailand in the north drives right, but every country that's directly below Thailand, such as Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore, all drive left. And that's pretty much how that map works, so let's move on to the second one. Alright, map 2 shows us exactly where the Google cars have been and where they haven't. So every country that has no red lines here should never show up in your GeoGuessr games if you're playing an official map. You can see that Africa's missing a lot, the Middle East is missing a lot, and East Asia is missing a lot. And I wrote down at the bottom here some notable countries, which new players often guess, but don't even have Street View. So Paraguay, Egypt, Belarus, Saudi Arabia, Myanmar, and China. Map number 3, and this one's very easy. It's about the traffic warning signs that are standard in each country. So the yellow countries here, which are mostly in Asia and the Americas, all use the diamond-shaped sign with a black arrow in the middle. And in Europe, Africa, and Asia, you're often going to see this triangular-shaped one, also with black arrows in the middle. These signs can be super useful for new players, and definitely check what side of the road the sign is set up on, so you can tell if you're driving left-hand side of the road or right. Alright, map number 4, and it's a map I made specifically for this video. I had to hook you guys up with the good stuff, so what is it about? Well, this map shows what kind of road line colors you can expect in each different country. So the countries colored in red will have white outer lines and white inner lines. So essentially no yellow lines at all. And you can see that's mostly Europe and then scattered around throughout the rest of the world. The second one is the yellow color, which has yellow lines in the center of the road, but white lines on the outside. So that's most common in the Americas, and watch out for Norway, which also does that in Europe. Then we have the green color, which indicates that you have white center lines, but actually yellow on the outside. Now this one's pretty easy because it's mostly just Southern Africa and the Middle East, but there are a few other small exceptions. And finally, we have the purple countries, which are much less consistent or follow a fairly unique pattern, and you can go check these ones out for yourself. Okay, for map number 5, we've got front license plate rules. So pretty much everywhere in the world, you'll have front license plates on your car. In Australia, we have them. All over Europe, you have front license plates on the cars. However, specifically in the continent of North America, there are many places where you don't have to use a front license plate. Panama, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico are all examples, but also many states in the USA. So every state listed here in blue does not require front license plates by law. So let me show you the best way to remember this. This line kind of cuts through the whole United States. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a historical line that kind of divides the North and the South. Now, every state below this line does not require front license plates, apart from Texas, Nevada, and California. So if you can just remember those three, then the rest of these states should have no fronts. Then you got the northern states that don't require front plates, and that's everything that touches Ohio. Actually, including Ohio these days, they just changed the law as well. And then finally, we have the black swan of the family, Kansas, who also just doesn't do front plates. Map number 6 is European chevrons. So one of the best ways to tell European countries apart from one another is the fact that they use different colored arrows on turns. And what's really nice about outside Europe is that the black on yellow chevron is easily the most common, and that doesn't exist anywhere in Europe. The closest thing is the yellow on black, which looks very different. So yeah, just commit these to memory if you can. Remember that there are more red arrows the further east in Europe you go, but apart from that, there's no real pattern, so you just kind of have to learn them, but they are very useful. Map number 7 here, guys. If you've been around GeoGuessr players a bit, you'll know that stop signs can be super useful around the world. But first thing to point out is that over in Europe, pretty much every single country uses a normal stop sign. So despite it being one of the most linguistically diverse places in the entire world, they all just use it in English. What's way more useful is the Americas side of things. So first off, we start off in Quebec, where they use arrêt on the stop sign instead of stop, and nearby you can also see some bilingual ones as well, for example in New Brunswick. Then moving down to Central America, you see the alto stop sign, and then the entirety of South America uses pare instead of alto. So it's a great way to distinguish these two regions, and don't forget that Portuguese and Spanish both use the same sign here. Apart from that, you see a whole bunch of variations throughout Asia. I think the most useful one is dur, which is in Turkey, and Turkey can often look like Spain, for example, so pretty useful. Map number 8, and we've got a very iconic one here. It's the European pedestrian crossing signs. Shouts to Bullfroggy, who's created this map. It's a really great one of the OG GeoGuessr resources. But you can see that 5 stripes on the pedestrian crossing is the most common across all of Europe. Norway, Sweden, and Bulgaria use 4, and then some countries like Spain even use 8. Oh yeah, and Poland doesn't even have any stripes, so that's also useful too. But commit this to memory if you can, because it's very high yield. Map number 9 is another one I created myself, and this one refers to where in the world they use long license plates versus short ones. So yellow represents long license plates, and you can see the general pattern is that Europe has a lot of this, and it's kind of dispersed around the rest of the world. On the other hand, red shows the short license plates. These are particularly common in the Americas and Oceania. But yeah, remembering that almost all of Europe uses long license plates can be very useful, especially in no moving, panning, or zooming. Not to mention that European license plates normally do have that blue strip. And finally, we have map number 10, which is quite a bit more advanced than all the ones we've seen so far. So basically in Europe for the last 5 years, the standard Google car has been the blue Google car. However, there are actually a lot of variations, and you can see the red Google car, the black Google car, and the white Google car are all common across Europe as well. And knowing in which countries these are found can really help you on those difficult European forest rounds that are so common. So if you're an advanced player, this one's for you. Definitely study it as much as you can. And yeah, that brings us to the end of this maps video. Thank you so much for making it to the end, and of course a massive thank you to everyone who's made these resources. Obviously most of them weren't mine. And yeah guys, let me know if there's anything I should have included. I think if you combine all the clues I put in here, you're definitely going to elevate your gameplay, especially remember those road lines and those countries where there's no street view at all. And yeah guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.